Lakeshore Drive is probably one of the most compelling drives. I like to drive. There was a song, 1971, by a group that was One Hit Wonder about driving on this road.
This road I'd like to tell you about is in my hometown. Lakeshore Drive, the road is called, it'll take you up or down.
Ever since I was a little kid, nothing matches the serenity of that drive. Running into Lakeshore Drive, heading into town, just slipping on by on LSD, Friday night trouble bound. That's back when, you could listen to the song on the radio or you could slip it in on the 8-track.
Growing up in Streeterville, which is really the Northwestern Hospital campus, I used to kind of cut around through there as a kid, and I had this favorite cut through that I would do, which is now, it would be on the east side of Lurie Children's Hospital. It used to be an alley that ran through there, just south of the armory that used to be there.
I knew Mayor Daley because he was a friend of my father's, and my mother being in the media and so forth, and she knew Mrs. Daley.
I remember coming through there in 1976, and at the end of the alley, there were all these ambulances there, and they were kind of piled up in their police cars there. As I approached, trying to understand it, I heard someone saying, Mayor Daley.
He was stricken with apparently a heart attack. Dr. Thomas Coogan, his doctor, worked on the mayor to try to save his life until approximately 20 minutes to 4 when Dr. Coogan pronounced him dead.
WBBM came across with a bulletin that Mayor Daley had died. I literally had to pull over, and I was emotionally really overcome. I mean, I literally started to cry.
I went through the office and told everybody what had happened. And then I went back to my office, and I'm standing there looking out the window, and I see ambulance number 42, which was carrying Richard J. Daley, go right past my office, heading down to Bridgeport to be prepared for the wake and the funeral.
I remember I was on the radio that day in 1976, and one of the managers at the radio station, who also, like me, had grown up in Chicago, said to me very sadly, you know, it's never going to be the same again. And I knew exactly what he meant, because for many of us growing up in Chicago, we never knew another mayor.
Mayor Daley dying, that was as huge as anything that had happened on the national scene.
One of the longest running star acts in the history of American politics.
I was a musician, I was hanging out with my musician friends, and we decided we wanted to go down and see Daley. We went to the visitation. And I'll never forget this as long as I live, because we drove down from Skokie. We had a park at Comiskey Park. There were buses that took us to the church. The buses let you off at the end of a line that was, I don't know, half a mile long, steadily moving. Everybody's standing in silence. And the line moves inch by inch by inch. We waited for 4 hours, inch by inch by inch. And we were down there like 11 o'clock at night, and it was like this around the clock. And we finally get up to the coffin, and his honor is laid out there, looking just perfect. And Richie is standing there, and I'll never forget this. He puts his hand out, shakes every hand, and says, "Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming."
The disco era was, was all about fun and dancing.
If you wanted to meet the girls, it was disco.
Well, if you've ever watched Saturday Night Fever and remember the scene where Tony does all the preparation to go to the club. The hair has to be just right, the outfit has to be just right.
We just watch the hair.
Don't touch the hair. That was real, that was all part of it. We all wore these chunky platform shoes. Don't ask me how we danced in those things, okay? I mean, I'd end up at a podiatrist today if I had to put those things on. But it was how we looked, and you wore your best disco outfit, and when you twirled and danced, you had to make sure that the skirt went with you, and so on and so forth.
It was all about dancing. You would twirl, you would just be free. It was just freedom.
It was all, part of the scene, and who are you going to meet, and are you going to meet somebody that you were going to end up dating, or, you know, you can't possibly date that guy because he's a horrible dancer and you wouldn't be caught dead with somebody who couldn't dance.
I was shy, but get me out there or, you know, on the dance floor and I'd be out there. You know, anything to meet the girls.
Everybody showed their newest dance steps. Remember, this was still Soul Train days with the Soul Train lines, all of that.
This is the Penguin. I don't know why it was called the Earl Flynn. The slide, you're just going from side to side. What was the one with Barry White on? Oh, the spank was real big. That was a good time.